Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Milton's Market Minute. And today I have Mary Stone with me. Mary Stone is a veteran agent. She's worked with me for many, many years at Franklin Realty Consultants. I've learned a lot from her, and I brought her on here today so that she can share a story of how she got started in real estate, how she was successful, how it's changed over the years. So with further ado, Mary, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Milton. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited. I love talking about real estate. There's just so many things that I've done in the past and the things that are changing and keeping update on everything. I love working with you, but as you know, since 1992, I got my license. Things are a little different.
Definitely, definitely. And my parents were in real estate since the 80s, so I know real estate before the MLS. When you would get a hot sheet dropped off in front of your
Yes,
office every week,
yes.
it was before the internet. It was
Oh, I know.
and then it was MS-DOS. Was it Stellar
Yes,
MLS or something like that?
it
Yeah,
was
there's
terrible.
a lot of changes. It was terrible, but at the same time, it was also good because realtors owned the multiple listing service and the data was private. If you wanted to know what
Absolutely.
was for sale, you had to go to a realtor,
That's
right?
right. Yeah,
In
absolutely.
2015, they sold the MLS to the internet,
Hmm.
and that had very much increased the price for leads and lead generation, where we can reach out to clients. I remember real estate magazines. That was the
Yeah.
biggest thing. I would advertise in a real estate magazine.
Hmm.
People would call, and we would sell them homes.
Yep.
And lots of changes coming today. But I want to get started as to how did you get in real estate? Why did you get in real estate? What motivated you to become a rock star?
Well, that's a good question. It's not your typical answer you're going to get, but my husband and I've been married for years and years and years, and I was a stay-at-home mom. I went to college, but I didn't stay the whole time. I dropped out and got married, so I basically didn't have any degree in anything. And he ended up getting brain cancer, and there was no cure for it at the time. And I was pushed out into the workplace. And I had a choice not being educated as far as a degree. I said I could go to the mall and work for $5 an hour or do something where I could actually support this family. And somebody said to me, you know what? You would be a great realtor. And I'm like, I know nothing about real estate, nothing. I didn't know the terminology, anything, but out of determination and the strong will of supporting my family, I went and I got my license. And out of desperation, and I told you this yesterday, to keep my family off of welfare and food stamps, I started knocking on doors. And once I started knocking on doors, they couldn't stop me.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah, I needed to feed my family. I needed to get my husband the health care he needed. And don't ever tell me women aren't strong. I'll tell you.
Women are stronger.
Yes,
Women are
yeah.
stronger. Men are babies. You ever heard of the man flu? Anytime a man gets sick, he's, I get that way. I don't know what it is. You guys
Um,
have more genetic information, right? You know me. I've got four sisters and a strong-willed mother, so I'm on your
yeah, we're
side.
strong. No, and it was I just needed to do it, and like I said, I was written up in the National ERA magazine because they couldn't believe the business I was doing. I got 30 listings in the first month that I had my real estate license, and they're like, "What
Wow,
are you
that's one
doing?"
per day.
I
That's one
know.
per day, Mary. How did you pull that off?
You know what I did? I when my kids were in school, I would go to the neighborhoods. I would drop my husband off to get his chemo and radiation. Then I would find a neighborhood and just keep knocking on doors. And believe it or not, Milton, they let me in the door. They were like, I don't know whether I had a higher source with me, but they let me in the door. And if they wanted to sell, they gave me the listing. If not, I went to the next door. And then at night after dinner, I would make cold calls. So it was
Wow.
just that determination of getting it. And so I was very excited and very nervous. And I really, to be honest, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was,
But you had a good broker, I imagine, that guided you.
well, yeah,
Eh.
yes and no. I'm not going to give him any credit. Sorry. No, he was good in the sense of, teaching me a little bit, but you're basically on your own. You know that once you get your real estate license, that
Baptism by fire, because it's nothing like the test. Because I think at the end of the day, it's a people business, it's a relationship business. And that's why I think it's so impressive that, you went door to door, you made phone calls, you met people face to face.
yes,
I always say that your vibe attracts your tribe. And if you've got great energy, and goodwill and good spirit, and you're out to help people, you're going to be successful. I always tell my agents, you don't count the transactions, you count the amount of families that you've been able to help, the amount of people whose life you've been able to transform.
yeah,
I got into real estate in 2002, so not as early as you, but still a long time ago. And I liked working with first-time home buyers. I like helping people achieve that dream of home ownership. And that's what really did it for me. I like getting the deals on the board. Hold on a second. We're going to cut this out. Babe, I'm doing a podcast. I'll call you in an hour. He's the only one that gets through on Don't Disturb. So
oh my God, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up being very good at it, but I was reading the article that they had written about me, and just to refresh myself of exactly what was going on, it basically said that I got over my head and that I needed help. And there was a senior realtor in there that said to me, you know what, you go out and get the listings and I'll do all the paperwork and the closings and everything. Well, you know where that went.
Right. He takes most of the money, or he takes all the money, doesn't do so much of the work.
No, I mean, getting listings was bread and butter.
That's the hardest part.
Of the real estate, yeah. So we did have a team for a year, and then I ended up learning the business inside and out. But when you go and get your real estate license, you pass a test. They don't really tell you how to sell real estate. It's basically right. you learn to pass a test. And I did. I passed the test, but did I have a clue what I was doing? So to keep myself out of trouble and the Florida law and everything, I took this senior partner on, which was okay. I mean, he made a lot of money out of me.
I'm sure.
But it's okay. I can't look back and say if I did this, this, and that. The fact is, I was making money. I could get my husband's health insurance. I could get my kids' school shoes, clothes, and food on my table. And that was the main thing, And after that, I regrouped. And then the broker asked me to be his partner.
Wow. So you really were amazing, huh? You found your calling.
So the broker said, listen, I'll be your partner. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try this. Because I thought he would have more listings and, it was okay. I did that for a year. But then I just thought, I don't need anybody. I really, really don't. I just need to do this on my own. And then I eventually did. But it was a good ride. I mean, I got a lot of awards. I was written up in magazines. I had trophies, and I mean everything. And
you recently won Woman of the Year in Davie.
I just won Woman of the Year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I know, and it's that I almost cried when they read my bio and the things I achieved. Because actually, it was funny because I have all my awards put away in the tool shed. Right. So I went and I got it. I counted. There were 70 awards I got.
Wow.
Just in the 7 years I worked for ERA. Because then I went to EWM. And then I worked in the relocation department there and did some relocation work with that. And that was awesome. But I have to be honest with you, Milton, things have changed so much. I still say I'm an old time realtor. You know, back in the
Right.
day, we went and we presented offers. We didn't do anything over the internet. We went with our little contracts and we sat in front of the people and we explained the contracts and we did net sheets and da da da, and they sign here. Now it's all e-sign or whatever, all this computer stuff. And I'm so out of it that I really need to get with the program. And I'm just being honest, you know, not that I ever want to give up my real estate, but, you know, it's that generation, you know?
Yeah. So it depends who you're working with. But I will tell you that the biggest thing right now, the messaging for realtors is we've got to go back to basics. And so, yeah, we have electronic signatures and email and all those different things. I send people a collection, they go to a website, but face-to-face communication with the listing agent, with the seller, with the buyers, with everybody is the most important part. You know, I tell my agents, I said, you don't make big deals making content for social media. All that is to keep yourself top of mind with your sphere of influence. You can run ads to get new clients and new contacts. But at the end of the day, you got to make your calls. You got to go door to door. You got to do your open houses. You have to be the mayor of your town. You know, what I do with my clients is I'm not just their realtor one and done. No, I stay in their life. I'm the guy that you call when you need an electrician. I'm the guy that you call when you have a question about your home that you don't remember what was on the inspection report. I have all your documents, right? I keep everything archived, and so I'll pull out their closing statement and I'll send it to them so they can do their taxes. You know, I'm the guy that will answer all their questions and will always pick up their phone because it benefits me. I like being useful. Right. But I also want to be the resource. So when they think anything real estate, they're thinking of me. Yeah. Right. And that's what you've done over the years. And that's what you continue to do. So I would say, don't stop it. You can still make your calls. You can still go door to door, do open houses. You know, maybe you want to be selective with how much you do that, when you do that. But that is what's going to get you. That's what's going to get you business. And my mom, who was in the business, how did she get in the business? She was also a top agent. You guys have a lot in common. She was a top listing agent in New York. And how did she do it? She had 4 kids at that time, or maybe 5, because I'm one of 5. She did it between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. while we were in school.
Yeah.
And she would she started making the appointments for my father, to the point where he would show up and they would go, oh, hold on, who are you? Angela. I spoke to Angela. I know I'm only going to speak to Angela. You know, and she did it to help him because we had 5 kids, 5 mouths to feed, a mortgage, et cetera, et cetera. But that's really what I tell all of my agents is you have to find out first, what is your why? Why are you getting up every morning? Why are you doing these things? If your why is clear, and your why was to save my husband, to pay for the healthcare, to put my family, you know, to school, to put food on the table, to take care of them, that's your why, then you never got tired.
No,
right?
Well, no. Listen, I wasn't allowed to get tired. I didn't let myself get tired. I would go in my room and cry. But I'd snap out of it real fast and, you know, just say, you can do this. But it was I would say it was a lot on me, you know. But my husband was cured of brain cancer. It took a couple years. Yeah, it took a couple years. But then he came down with another cancer and then another one. It was like 15 years of cancer. So, you know, the real estate was good to me. I mean, I have to say that even though I did what I did, being in South Florida was a good space to be because it never, ever went bad, you know? And I remember the most expensive house that you could list was $300,000 back then. If you got a $300,000 listing, you were like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, that was during the 90s. I remember houses were 60,000, you know? That's not a thing anymore.
And the interest rates were like 10%, 12%. I mean, it was off the wall. And, you know, things, you know, but still, I mean, real estate was good. It really, really was. And if I got 2 listings a day, I would come home and crash and go, oh my God, I did it. And then I started selling. You should have seen me when I got my first check. I was like, Oh my God, I did it! I did it! I was
Yeah,
so excited. I never saw that such a big check in my life. And then it was just like, I can do this. I can do this. I'm positive I can do this. Deposited the check. I went and bought my kids new clothes, and just went and got my car washed, got some new
nice.
clothes for me, and just went out. And I told you too yesterday. It was I don't know actually where I got the call. It's from ERA headquarters, and they wanted to know how I was doing it. They were curious. They said, "You just got your license. Like, did you have somebody in the?"
Who do you know? Who do you know? How are you getting this? How is making? Do you think that they doubted you because you were a woman
Oh
back
God, yeah.
then in the 90s,
And they wanted
right?
to. They asked if they could follow me around and see what I was doing and how I was getting these listings. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure about that one. I'm like, you guys would make me nervous. So what they did is then they asked for contacts of people that I had listed their houses, and they called them to see why they listed with me and what was the reason. They're doing it as a training thing. And I would say
Hmm.
nine out of 10 of them just said because we liked her. That was it.
Listen, being likable is necessary in this business. You
Yeah,
have to be able to relate to people. And so if you make people feel good about themselves, where they can kind of let their guard down and they don't have to be on alert and they can trust you, that's it. You're there. That's the name of the game.
but I learned everything they threw at me. There was one thing I did learn. Everything they threw at me, I had an answer. And I don't know where I was getting these answers. I don't, like I said, they would say, well, this and this and this. And I go, nope, we can do this, this, and this. And I learned to be so good at that they, at the end of the listing, they go, okay, well, we're going to give you the listing. Because there wasn't anything I couldn't solve. And I don't know where I was coming up with this stuff, but it was sounded pretty good to me.
When there is a will, where there's a will, there's a way, right? Like I said before, your why was very clear. And another saying that I have in the office is failure is not an outcome if it's not an option.
Yeah, no.
You know, a lot of people go into their endeavors, work, relationships, or
Right.
whatever, with, well, I'm probably not going to get it anyway, right? Or well, I may not make it anyway. I might fail. If that's an option, your brain's going to go towards what's the easiest, part. And they're going to go, well, you know what, then just don't try anyway. And
Yeah.
so I think that is a testament to your willpower, and that you were very clear with your why.
Yeah.
Tell me, what advice would you have for new agents getting started today?
Oh, good question. Well, first of all, why did they get in it? Because there's a lot of people that just get their license and don't do anything with it, or just want the tax deductions or whatever. So really, I would say, what is your motivation? What is it that you need to do with your real estate license? And that really determines what you're going to do, whether you're going to sit back and go into the office and drink coffee and eat donuts, or you're going to go and you're going to really try to network and go out and meet people and knock on doors. I know knocking on doors is pretty scary these days. I do realize that. This was back in the 90s and 2000s, and I was a woman, and trust me, it wasn't the safest thing to do. But sometimes if you see a for sale by owner sign out in the yard, just pull over and call it, or knock on the door. I do that. I do that to this day, and just try to work your way in, and don't be pushy. But you know what? Just do your best to get in the door and sell yourself. Always look nice. I always say that is I
Always look nice. That's
yes, I
very
did.
important.
Yes, I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but I went and bought a fake designer purse, fake diamond earrings, um, a suit that wasn't a designer suit, but I always wore red because I felt red was a power color. I
Hmm.
polished my car. I always had a decent car, and I always looked successful. I wore high heels. I wore skirts and a jacket, very professional. I always had my name tag. Never
I think
went.
name tags are actually very important. I see
Yeah,
most people don't wear name tags today, but if you're going to be door knocking, have a name tag. All right. Yeah, Mary Stone, there you go. You see, if you're going to be door knocking,
yeah,
name tag,
name tag.
right? It gives you a little bit more of an official role and dress to impress. You know, I get a lot of complaints from younger folks these days, Gen Zs and whatnot, basically saying that fashion is a personal choice. And although I do agree that ideally that is true, if you're going to be helping an agent with, if you're going to be helping a buyer, right, with what, or a seller, transact what is most likely the most expensive thing that they have going to buy or sell in their life, you need to dress for success.
It's
Right?
true.
You need to look the part, you need to play the part. And if you want to change, if you want to become a stronger individual, if you want to become that amazing agent, you need to act like that agent would, that amazing person would be.
Yeah,
You need to step into that role. And for me, that means I got to get up at 6 a.m. I got to go to the gym. I got to go to the office. I got to make my phone calls. I got to do my open houses. I got to start knocking on my doors. I got to start calling my sphere of influence. I have to get outside of my comfort zone
yeah,
because the badass avatar, that person that I want to be, would do that.
yeah,
And that's the amazing thing about the human mind, is
mm-hmm.
that it neuroplasticity means we can actually become better, right?
Yeah,
We can become that person. Like you became that person because you needed to be.
no,
You know, you had no other option. You did it for your family, you did it for your husband. And you know, kudos to you, because I remember when you joined my company in Franklin Realty Consultants, I had consistent. There's a closing every month. The package
yeah.
is clean. You know,
I
everything was.
know. You
You
always
know,
used to
I
say
never
that.
had to worry.
I
You
know.
know, scanned in and done. I wish everybody was like Mary. You know, and that's really important.
But that's how, that's how I learned though. And that was one thing I do have to give my broker credit for, is that he was a stickler for that. So I dotted the I's. I made sure everything was on the up. You always said to me, I never have to even look at your stuff. You just would scan and all. And that made me
Yeah.
feel good. So, it's like I said, industry has changed and you do have to keep up with it. And I do have to do more learning the technology portion of it. I still give myself credit as an old time realtor that has a lot of ethics and morals and does it the right way. But I have to learn the other things too that go along with it. So that's what I would say today is my issue. Is in that
Yeah.
generation, it is like
You got to embrace change. You got to embrace change. You
I
know,
mean, I
I've
don't
been
have my
doing real
son
estate.
anymore.
Right,
My son
right.
was at home living with me.
He was helping you with your paperwork?
Yeah. How do you do this on the computer? I don't know how to do it, Mom. I'm going to tell you one time. If you don't listen,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you. Okay, just tell me one time.
Well, listen,
And
we're going to have artificial intelligence soon and AI. I say take classes on ChatGPT, look at YouTube and do some tutorials, because ChatGPT will be your assistant. It
yeah,
will help you do all the things, explain all the things, and I'm actually embracing it right now. And we're in the process of customizing a GPT to be like our assistant, and it's very cool. But with all things, embrace change, and you got to reinvent yourself, because I've been doing real estate for 22 years, and I have had to reinvent myself, learn new technologies, adapt to changing markets and industry every 5 years, and
yeah.
it's just recently sped up to every 3 years. And so I am embracing it and leaning in. I'm leaning in to the storm and going head first.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? You're giving me a kick in the butt, telling me to get going. And look at
You
that.
know,
I'm not going to
there's
put
a
my real
lot of
estate.
fight left in you,
I know.
and know-how and personal contacts. You still have clients calling you today.
Yes, I do. I
Um,
mean, a lot of referrals that I had sold their house, they call me again, and so it's not that I go knocking on doors anymore, but I do have clients that I sold their house years ago and they're ready to sell, or their daughter wants to buy, their son, or there's somebody moving down here, so it keeps me busy. It does. And I love the Davie area. As I got my award for Woman of the Year in Davie, I tell them I raised my kids in Davie, in the Cooper City area, and I loved it. And they turned out to be very, very successful. And when I worked in the relocation department, people would say, okay, I'm moving to South Florida. I have a family. I want good schools. I want good activities. Would you recommend that? I always said the town of Davie because my kids grew up there, or the Cooper City area, one of the two. And I love that family atmosphere. And so, and like I said, my kids turned out great. And I don't know, this is what I like, my little area.
Yeah. Well, listen, you've done great in the city of Davie, in the Cooper City area, and that Southwest Broward area. It remains to be a very beautiful, great neighborhood. And so I'm gonna wish many more years of success, and hopefully we can continue working together in the future.
I hope so, Milton. You're not going anyplace.
I'm not going anywhere. Tell me, how can people contact you if they're looking to move to Davie, Florida?
You can call me, and should I say my number? I mean,
I will post your number below, but you can say it.
Yeah, it's
best number to reach you at.
954-830-4014. My email is marystonehomes, HOMES, @gmail.com. So I like talking on the phone. I'm more of a
Me too.
talker.
Yeah.
And text or email, I like. As my son said, I'm the mouth of the South.
Yeah. I gave up on emails a long time ago. Text me and let me know that something's coming through. I do keep my eyes on it, but honestly, I think face-to-face, verbal, over the phone, direct communication is the way to be.
You can text me or you can email me, but I will call you and I will talk to you on the phone. And
there you go.
meet you in person and get to know you and see if I could help. But like I said, I do Plantation, Cooper City, Davie, West. I go west, and then west east and that area, Southwest Ranches, things like
Broward
that.
County, Southwest Broward, Central Broward. Yeah, the closer south of 595, just a little bit north of the 595. That's your stomping ground. That's what you know. I think that's where you're probably going to be most effective. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Mary, for joining me today. I will let you know as soon as this gets posted. I appreciate all your help and wisdom. Thanks so much.
Thank you. It was really nice talking to you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Likewise.